Most financial experts tell you retirement means downsizing and sacrifice, but thousands of retirees are thriving using 5 strategies the financial industry doesn't want you to know about because they work. Let me be straight with you. If you're watching this, you're probably tired of the same old retirement advice. Downsize, cut your budget, live on less. But what if I told you that the most successful retirees I've studied aren't just surviving, they're actually designing lives that are richer, more purposeful, and more financially secure than they ever imagined, and they're doing it in ways that almost nobody talks about. These aren't your grandfather's retirement strategies. These are creative, modern approaches that real people are using right now to turn their golden years into something truly golden. So what's really happening out there? What are the retirees who are genuinely thriving doing differently? I've spent months researching this and, most importantly, listening to retirees who figured this out. And what I found surprised me. There are 5 major strategies that successful retirees are quietly implementing, and I'm going to share every single one with them today. First, let's talk about what I call the ghost career. Now, I know what you're thinking. Career? I thought we were talking about retirement, but hear me out, because this isn't about going back to a stressful 9-to-5 job. Instead, savvy retirees are launching what I call micro businesses. These are small, low-stress ventures that serve 2 critical purposes. They provide supplemental income, sure, but more importantly, they provide purpose. And study after study shows that having purpose in retirement is one of the strongest predictors of both longevity and happiness. Let me give you a real example. There's a woman who spent 35 years as a corporate accountant. She retired at 63, and within 6 months, she was miserable, not because of money, but because she felt aimless. So what did she do? She started offering bookkeeping services to 3 small local businesses, just 3. She works maybe 10 hours a week, makes about $1,500 a month, and most importantly, she wakes up feeling needed and relevant. That's the ghost career. It's there when you want it, invisible when you don't. You set the hours, you choose the clients, and you keep the stress at 0. The beauty of this approach is that you don't need to invent something from scratch. Think about your existing skills. Can you tutor students online, offer consulting in your field? Do people always ask for your help with something specific? That's your micro business right there. The first step is simple. Make a list of 3 things you're good at that others might pay for. Not a business plan, not a website, just a list. Start there. Now let's move to something that might make you uncomfortable at first, but stick with me because the numbers are compelling. I call this the equity harvest. If you're like many Americans your age, a huge chunk of your net worth is locked up in your family home. You've got this asset that's worth maybe $400,000, $500,000, maybe even more, and it's just sitting there. Meanwhile, you're worried about monthly income. You're concerned about cash flow, and you're living in a house that's honestly too big now that the kids are gone. Here's what the savvy retirees are doing. They're selling those high-value family homes, and they're doing 2 things with that money. First, they're buying or renting something smaller that actually fits their current lifestyle. And second, they're taking that difference, that freed up equity, and they're investing it into income-producing assets. We're talking dividend-paying stocks, bonds, real estate investment trusts, things that generate actual monthly cash flow. Let me paint you a picture. Jim and Susan sold their 4-bedroom house in the suburbs for $580,000. They bought a beautiful 2-bedroom condo closer to downtown for $300,000. That left them with $280,000 after closing costs and moving expenses. They invested that money conservatively, and it now generates about $12,000 a year in income. That's an extra $1,000 a month, every month, without touching the principal. Plus, their property taxes dropped, their utility bills dropped, and they have no more yard work or maintenance headaches. Now, I know what you're thinking, but that's my family home. That's where I raise my kids, and I hear you. This decision is deeply personal. But ask yourself this question: is that house serving you, or are you serving it? Are you staying because it truly enhances your life, or because you feel you're supposed to? There's no wrong answer, but it's worth being honest with yourself. If you're even considering this, the first step is to get your home appraised. Just know what it's worth. Knowledge is power, and you can always decide to do nothing, but at least you'll be making an informed choice. The third strategy might sound unconventional, but it's gaining serious traction, and for good reason. I call it the co-living revolution. Remember that TV show, The Golden Girls? 4 older women sharing a house in Miami? Turns out that wasn't just entertainment. It was ahead of its time. More and more retirees are forming intentional living arrangements with friends or like-minded peers, and it's solving two of the biggest challenges retirees face: loneliness and cost. Think about it. Loneliness in retirement is a genuine health crisis. Studies show it's as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And housing costs? They're often the single biggest expense in retirement. So what if you could slash your housing costs in half while simultaneously ensuring you're never lonely? That's exactly what co-living does. I read about a group of 4 women, all in their late 60s, who bought a large house together. Each has their own bedroom and bathroom, but they share common spaces, meals when they want to, and most importantly, companionship. Their individual housing costs dropped by about 40% compared to what they were each paying before. But here's what they say matters most. They have built-in social connection. They look out for each other. If someone gets sick, there's help right there. They're not aging in isolation. Now, this doesn't have to be as formal as buying property together. Some retirees are simply renting larger places together. Others are creating guest house arrangements on their properties. The key is finding people whose lifestyle and values align with yours. You don't want to move in with your college roommate only to discover you have completely different ideas about cleanliness or noise levels. The first step here is to have honest conversations with friends who might be interested. Talk about expectations, boundaries, finances, everything. Treat it like the serious decision it is. Let me share a strategy now that's a bit more technical, but it's so powerful that I need you to pay close attention. I call this the HSA Stealth Fund. If you have a high deductible health plan, you likely have access to a health savings account. Most people treat their HSA like a checking account. They put money in, they take money out for medical expenses, and that's that. But here's what the most financially savvy retirees are doing instead. They're treating their HSA like a supercharged retirement account. Here's how it works. HSAs have a triple tax advantage that no other account has. The money goes in tax-free. It grows tax-free. And if you use it for qualified medical expenses, it comes out tax-free. That's incredible. So smart retirees are maxing out their HSA contributions, investing that money in low-cost index funds within the HSA. And here's the key. They're paying for their current medical expenses out of pocket from other sources. They're letting that HSA money just sit there and grow. Why does this work? Because after age 65, you can withdraw money from your HSA for any reason without penalty. You'll pay regular income tax if it's not for medical expenses, just like a traditional IRA. But if you do use it for medical expenses, which, let's be honest, you're going to have plenty of in your later years, it's completely tax-free. And even better, there's no time limit on when you have to reimburse yourself for medical expenses. You could pay out of pocket for a procedure today, keep the receipt, and reimburse yourself from your HSA 20 years from now when that money has grown substantially. I know this sounds complicated, but think of it this way. You're creating a tax-free investment account that will be there for you when healthcare costs inevitably rise as you age. The first step is simple. If you have an HSA, call your HSA provider and ask about investment options. Many people don't even know they can invest their HSA funds. Just make that phone call. Finally, let me share what might be the most important strategy of all, and it's one that almost nobody does. I call this the retirement rehearsal. The most successful retirees don't just wake up one day, retire, and hope for the best. Instead, they spend 1 to 2 years before their actual retirement date living on their projected retirement budget and testing their proposed daily schedule. They're essentially doing a trial run of retirement while they still have the safety net of their regular income. Here's why this is so brilliant. Most people have no idea what their life will actually look like in retirement. They have fantasies about travel and hobbies, but they haven't tested whether those fantasies match reality. And financially, they often have no clue whether their budget is realistic. So what happens? They retire, and 6 months later, they're either bored out of their minds or they've blown through way more money than they expected. Let me tell you about Robert. 2 years before his planned retirement, he started living on what would be his retirement income. He automated transfers from his paycheck to savings to simulate the reduced income. And you know what he discovered? His budget was way too optimistic. He was spending about $800 more per month than he'd planned, but because he discovered this while still working, he had time to adjust. He cut back on certain expenses, found cheaper alternatives for others, and by the time he actually retired, he had a budget that he knew from experience would work. But it wasn't just about money. He also started structuring his free time the way he imagined retirement. He took up woodworking. He volunteered at a local food bank. He spent more time with his grandkids. And he realized that while he loved the woodworking and the grandkids, the volunteering just wasn't for him. So he found something else. By the time he retired for real, he wasn't fumbling around trying to figure out how to fill his days. He already knew the first step for this strategy is to calculate what you think your retirement income will be. Social Security, pensions, investment withdrawals, whatever it is. Then, starting next month, live on only that amount. Put the rest automatically into savings. See what happens, see what it feels like, adjust as needed. You're giving yourself the gift of a dress rehearsal, and that's invaluable. So let's bring this all together. We've talked about 5 powerful strategies that successful retirees are using right now. The Ghost Career, where you create a low-stress micro business that provides both income and purpose. The Equity Harvest, where you unlock the value trapped in your home and turn it into income-producing assets. The Co-Living Revolution, where you cut costs and combat loneliness by sharing housing with like-minded peers. The HSA Stealth Fund, where you transform your health savings account into a tax-free growth machine. And the Retirement Rehearsal, where you test drive your retirement budget and lifestyle before you actually retire. These aren't pie-in-the-sky ideas. These are real strategies that real people are using to create retirements that are financially secure and genuinely fulfilling. You don't have to do all 5. Even implementing 1 or 2 of these could dramatically change your retirement trajectory. The key is to start now. Don't wait until retirement is staring you in the face. Take action today. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I'm here to give you the real strategies that work, not just the same tired advice everyone else is peddling. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these strategies resonated most with you, or if you're already doing something similar. I read every comment and I love hearing your stories. Remember, your retirement doesn't have to look like anyone else's. You get to design it. So start designing. You've got this.